What are the best action horror movies? That's what we're going to discuss on today's episode. Hey, it's me, AP, and welcome to the Saturday Movie Show, everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely Saturday today, and we are in Halloween season now. So today I thought I'd go for a kind of horror Halloweeny spooktastic type episode. And that's why we're going to look into action horror movies today. I'm going to give you four of my favourite choices of action horror movies to get us all in the mood for Halloween season. I'll be honest with you, this year, I am super excited for Halloween. It's not like I'm going to go out dressed up or anything like that. I'll most likely be indoors and people will be coming around doing trick-or-treating. But you know what? This year, I feel like because we've not really had it over the past year or two with everything that's been going on in the world, I think it's nice. It's a nice occasion, Halloween this year, and I love it. Like looking around shops and seeing all the Halloween costumes and everything. I think it's really cool to see. I seen like this big skull today, this big light up skull, and I was just mesmerized. I was like a kid going in Toys R Us seeing this big skull, this Halloween ornament. It's nice. It's nice. I think this year it's just something what I'm really excited for, which I never normally get excited for. So I'm looking forward to Halloween, and that's why today I thought let's start off the Halloween season with a horror themed episode, and hopefully we'll have a few more Saturday movie shows throughout the month with similar themes. I'll have a look at the movie collection behind me and see what other horror-like movies we can look at too. But anyway, like I said, it'll be best of horror action movies, action horror movies, however you want to say it today, on today's Saturday movie show for the headline topic. But before we get to today's headline topic, as we start every one of these shows every Saturday, we start off with easing into the show with the first segment of the show, which is Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. If you're new to the show, maybe you're wondering, what is this section of the show? Well, I will tell you, it is a section of the show where we talk about what is going on with the channel. It's kind of a general chit-chat, and easing us into the day, into today's episode, really. So, let's see what's on this week's edition of Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. We have got, well, this week for the channel, first of all, I released a new video this week, this Thursday, and the video was the short film I've been working on. And you'll see this mask here behind me. I've got this demon-like mask behind me, and basically that was the mask for one of the characters, the demon customer, on my new short film, The Monster Hideaway. It was released on Thursday on YouTube, and I was really happy to release it, and so far it's been really good feedback from people, which is really nice, and I appreciate all those who've watched it, and to those who've commented and give me feedback as well. I really do appreciate that as well. Thank you very much. But I'm really happy that it's out there now. It was something that I'd had it in. It was there. It was all ready for a month or two, and I can't even remember I mentioned this, but that was the very first time on any type of project where it was like a scripted or type of like a filmmaking, like a film, a short film, a web series. It was the first one that I've ever done, and the first edit was fine. It was completely done. I never get that. Sometimes I feel like I'll do it and then I'll look at it and then it's like, oh, there's a mistake there. I've got to re-edit it and do another. But honestly, it was one save, one edit out, and it was done. And it completely surprised me. But I was really happy. All went smoothly. And as I said, the feedback so far has been really positive. I always, like I said, I welcome positive feedback, and I also welcome honest feedback as well, which is constructive. I have said before, though, if it is purely negative, if someone is super negative about it, I probably just would ignore that or delete the comment. But, this is a nice community. I've said this many a times. This is a positive community. Everyone in this community has been awesome, and thank you to all of you who have watched it and who have commented. And you know what? If you've not watched it yet, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You've got all the time in the world. If you've got some time, whenever you make time, check it out. Let me know your thoughts on it. Give me your honest, critical but positive feedback. I want to just give it to me. Give it to me. Watch it. Either way, just check it out. I'm really intrigued to find out what more people think about the Monster Hideaway. It's very much, it kind of came out at the right time. The end of September leading into October with Halloween on the way, because it's a very, like a Halloween-y type, it's a horror, I always explain it, it's a horror comedy sitcom short film. That's the way I described it. I think it's kind of like an accurate description of what it is. Kind of a long description. I suppose I could cram sci-fi in there as well, but horror comedy sci-fi, horror comedy sitcom short film. That's the way I'm describing to everyone. But yeah, I'm very, very thankful of everyone who has watched that. Thank you very much for watching it, and if you're not, check it out as well. Worth checking out. I would say that. I made it, so I would definitely say that. But anyway, let's move away from this weekly video of this week. Let's move on to what else has been going on with the channel, surrounding the channel this week. We've had a new Patreon bonus podcast out this week. We've had a new edition, a new episode of Watch Order Task Force. It's the first one in a while, to be honest with you, on the bonus podcast. If you want to become a Patreon is an extra thing. If you want a bit more content from myself and the podcast Watch Order Task Force, it's me going through different genres of movies or different movies categories and giving you the best possible watch order. And on this one, it's the best of Marvel phases. So it's going through the phases of the MCU and telling you and detailing which I think are the best to watch first to get the best viewing pleasure. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, it's a bit humorous at times on the Watch Order Task Force on the bonus podcast. But it's fun, good fun. And like I said, it's there if you want to become a Patreon, it's there for you. If you always want to walk away from Patreon, if it's too much for you, too much money, I completely understand that. And I always, I never hold any grudges against anyone if they want to walk away from Patreon. I totally understand. But it's there if you want it. The links are in the description below if you want to check out more of the content from myself and from this channel. So that came out this week. We also had another bonus video on the Patreon side of things. Get away from Patreon in a moment. That was a script read of the Monster Hideaway. I know I said I'd get away from the Monster Hideaway, but we had a script read as well. That was just something as well. I just wanted to kind of sign off on the whole short film project, and I give a behind the scenes video to Patreon the other month, and this month, last month now, September, we're in October, it was the bonus video of the script read, which I really enjoyed doing. It was nice to just go over that script again, look at it and look at the way it's changed slightly to what it had eventually become, which was nice to see. It was cool to see the changes. But that is the Monster Hideaway. The Monster Hideaway definitely done now. Let's talk about some other things coming up next. Well, this month now. Patreon this month in October. As always, there'll be more bonus videos, bonus content, at least one bonus video, one bonus podcast, the webcomics as well. I foresee it will change again over the next coming months. It's been great. Over the past few months, I was talking it up for a while of doing bonus video content. Finally got around to doing it now. We've got the video content coming in regularly on the Patreon side of things. So this month, I believe it is something to do with physical media. No, it's home theatre tours. It is this month. So I'll be going around my movie room. It's a movie room tour. So I'm doing like a mini movie room tours of different parts of my movie room in here. And this is going to be like a little series over on the Patreon if you're interested in checking it out. That will be coming out some point this month. I'll give you a heads up when it is going to be arriving. To be honest, I don't even know the date. I'm going to have to check this date again when it's coming out. I need to get a diary for 2021, don't I? Or 2022. That'll be around the corner. But yeah, that's Patreon over anyway. What I can say is what I'm planning for a few weeks ahead now. I was actually planning on skipping one of the Saturday movie shows, but now it seems like we probably don't have to do that. The reason being, we've got the DC Fandom event coming up on the 16th of October. That is the same day, I believe, the same day as the 50th episode of the Saturday movie show. We're doing a bit of a celebratory episode. I will talk about that in a moment. But the DC Fandom event. It was on last year and it was like a whole digital event. I think this year it's going to be very similar. I don't know whether crowds are going to be allowed in, but it's going to be on YouTube. People can watch on YouTube. Uh, I've got two ideas, and it depends on which one is possible to do with the equipment I've got at the moment, what we can do. But I'm looking at doing some sort of coverage of it. Ideally, I would like to do a live stream watch along of some sort. I need to wait up because I need to look how long this event is. Because if it's like, I don't know how long. If it's like 4 hours, maybe 4 hours is okay. But if it's like something beyond 4 hours, I don't know whether I've got the composure to do more than 4 hours sitting and talking. I think my voice would just flag out. We'll have to wait up. But I would like to do some sort of a watch along, or if anything, a coverage video the day after. There'll be some sort of something for the DC Fandom stuff, because I really enjoyed it last year. I loved some of the reveals, and it's going to be movie reveals, TV reveals, video game, comics, a lot of different reveals at the DC Fandom. But I feel like we as a community are covering movies, the movie side of things, and I feel like everything related to DC automatically sort of like goes under the umbrella of what we're doing here on the channel as well. So I'm really excited to do something for that. I suppose nearer the time, over the next week or two, I'll get a better idea of what we are going to do for that event and what we're going to sort of plan out. But we're going to do something, whether it's just a normal video on the coverage or a watch along. There'll be some sort of coverage from the channel on the DC Fandom, rest assured. What else can I say? What else has been going on this week? Well, I gotta say, it's been awesome so far. We got for the 50th episode coming up. It's going to be an episode best year in movies. I've had some, I've been contacting people over the past couple of weeks. Contacted a few more people this week. I do apologise if I missed anyone who have not contacted. Just get in contact with me. Just drop me a message. I try and contact everyone. Who I've been contacting people who are on YouTube, doing YouTube videos. But if you, like I said, if you want to leave your 4 best movies from a particular year, let me know. Picking 1 year, 4 movies from the year. You can either do a 2-minute video, send it in to the email address at SaturdayMovieShow5050@hotmail.com. Send me that email if you want to get involved that way. Other than that, you can send me a statement in text form via Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Leave in the comments. Let me know your top 4 movies and the year of them, and I will read the statement out on the 50th episode on the October 16th show. We've already had, which is super awesome, 2 contributions, 2 collaborations, videos so far, which is superb. I'll be honest with you, I put it out there, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll get no one will be interested. And I've had 2 people so far who got back to me and have delivered the goods. They delivered the goods, and we've got a few more coming in hopefully over the next week, which is nice to see as well. But we've had 2 awesome collaboration videos so far. I'm not going to say the names of who they are. You will see on the 50th episode. But it is people who are involved in this community, and I think it's awesome. I want this to be a big community that comes together on these big 50th episodes or whatever. If we do want to do collaboration videos again, we can do it now. We've shown, well, it's going to be shown come the 50th episode that this community is awesome, and they've got some good views, and which is really nice so far. And what I've heard, some of the feedback from some people, no one has the same year of the best year in movies. I've kind of got a rough year in mind, but I'm not all in on the year yet. I'm kind of like holding off and keeping on looking through the movie collection and say, oh, maybe that should be my choice. But anyway, it's going to be great. But if you want to get involved, like I said, send me an email, send me a message, and still plenty of time to get involved with the 50th episode coming up. So anyway, that is the end of Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping section of the show. Let's get to the headline topic of the show. The headline topic today is Best Action Horror Movies. Best Action Horror Movies. Like I said, Halloween season. Halloween season is here, and and let's talk about some horror action movies. Horror action. So I've got 4 choices today of horror action movies, and I'm going to go through my choices and describe why these are my choices. And let's go to it. Let's go to the first choice here. First of all, what is an action horror? I think for me, an action horror, it's simply it's got them horror elements in, whether it be vampires, whether it be zombies, whether it be some sort of dark demonic force, and it's got good action scenes throughout, good action characters as well. And these movies, for me, all have those criteria. They all meet that marker. So my first choice here for best horror action movie is Blade. I don't even know if I've got it here. There we go. Let's get it from the collection here. Blade, the first Blade movie. I didn't grab the DVDs out. Blade. This is superb. I've been rewatching it recently for the World Movie League episodes. So I rewatched this more recently, and gotta say, I enjoyed the watch. It didn't get well. I'm not going to tell you the result on the World Movie League unless you've not watched that show already. But basically, Blade is a great action horror. Blade tells a story. Wesley Snipes as Blade, the character of Blade, and it was released in 1998. This movie. He is a daywalker. He's half human, half sort of daywalker. He's got vampire blood inside him. He is one of those. He is a vampire basically, half and half. But he can walk in daylight. He is a daywalker. This is a great movie, great action movie at the time. I do think there's definitely negatives that I'll get to that in a minute. But let's talk about the great positives of this movie. Action stars, as action stars go, Wesley Snipes in the 90s, he is awesome. He is built like a wall. He is so strong, and he just looks like the guy. He is the main man. You don't mess with this guy. And he goes around, he's fighting. And this scene, there's tons of different scenes in this. I think there's 2 notable action horror scenes which I really like. The opening scene, when he goes into the nightclub, and it's like in a warehouse at the back of a butcher shop, and he goes in and all the vampires are in the white uniforms, and the blood's coming down from the ceiling, and he turns up with his shotgun, and then he pulls out a big sword as well, and he just goes and just destroys them all, and just absolutely just annihilates everyone in the room. And it's just an awesome, maybe 3 or 4 minute scene. Superb, and that is a great introduction to this character. But we see later in the movie as well, there's a scene, I think it's in this library for vampire artifacts, and we see Blade in there, and he's looking around the room, and he can see something moving, but he doesn't know what it is, and obviously it's a vampire. And then you see this young girl, and then this young girl starts fighting him, and then he ends up getting beaten by a load of them. They all overthrow him, and he gets stabbed in the chest, and he's tied to the wall. And it's just a great scene. First of all, the martial arts in that scene are awesome. It's a very short scene with the action in that scene, but it's great. But the vampires think they've got one up on Blade. They think they've got him. They think they've got him captured. They think they've won the battle. And then the next minute, Whistler, his friend and mentor Whistler, comes driving through a wall in this big truck, and then just starts shooting out with a machine gun, and just kills all the vampires, and then they're all running away, and he saves Blade. But it's a great scene, and then it leads on to then a scene within the train, within the underground, which is great as well. But that scene there, it's just such a small scene, that battle scene in the library, but it's great. It's a great action scene, and it's really highlights the great action attributes of this movie. It's got a great cast. I think Blade, Wesley Snipes. I think Chris Christopherson as Whistler is great as the mentor. I do think there is some of the actual the visuals, the CGI is a bit off now. It's dated a bit. I think that is somewhat letting it down in some areas of this movie. I got to say, the villain is not super strong, Deacon Frost. I do feel like sometimes his villain is a bit, hit and miss. But overall, with having a great action star like Wesley Snipes, having some great action scenes, having a great story of Blade, this guy, this daywalker going around killing vampires. He's a vampire hunter, him and Whistler. They're saving this nurse who's been attacked by a vampire and she's turning and trying to help her. And then you see loads of little twists and turns in this action horror story. It's just a great film and it's well worth checking out as a action horror movie. So my second choice of best action horror movies goes to Constantine. That's right, Constantine. I'm getting my words mixed up here. I'm pronouncing it wrong. Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves as John Constantine. What is Constantine about? Well, first of all, the movie was released in 2005. Keanu Reeves plays the main role, and he is an exorcist who is dealing with demons on planet Earth today. This is a DC Comics property. I believe it might have been Vertigo as well. I think it was a Vertigo comic. I may be wrong. It was an Alan Moore, based on the Alan Moore Hellblazer comic book, this particular movie of the character Constantine. And it's one I've rewatched recently. And like I said, he plays an exorcist, and it's him dealing with demons, and there is a narrative to this story as well. But it's a great story, and it's a great action movie as well, with them horror elements as well of the demons and in there, and God and the devil, and it's some really great. Like, I feel like there's a lot of mythology probably that is wrapped in with the comic books that maybe they don't go too deep into here, but there's definitely a lot to get your teeth into in this movie. But Keanu Reeves, this is a time when, he's probably coming off the end of the Matrix buzz, and he goes into this comic book movie. And I think at the time it did good money. It didn't do bad. I think it made relatively good money. I think it made over like 200 million. It smashed its budgets and stuff. It done well. And there's always been rumours of a sequel happening at some point. We still not had a sequel. It wouldn't surprise me, when you're getting all these Matrix reboots at the moment, and John Wick being so successful that we might see a reboot or a relaunch of this movie with Keanu Reeves. I think it would be great. But why is it so great? I think, first of all, his character of Constantine, John Constantine, he just nails what that character is. He's very dark. He's very like a withdrawn character to the world around him. Very stoic at times. Maybe you would probably say a typical Keanu Reeves performance in some ways. But when he deals with, like, you see one of the opening scenes where he's dealing with this girl who has a demon trapped in her, and he goes to this house, and all the family around her are really scared, and she's screaming, and you can hear the demon's voice inside her, and he's like punching her in the face and stuff to try and get this demon out, and then he manages to get the demon out via this mirror technique, which is really weird, but it's like watching a new version of The Exorcist. It's got that sort of vibe to it at times, and it's just great the way he deals with the demon. He's taking this demon out, and he's so in charge of it. When it comes to demons and exorcisms or anything of like that world, that side of things, that like that spooky sort of thing, the undead sort of things in stories, he is the man to go to, John Constantine. But there's a few scenes in this, but I think one standout scene for me as an action, which makes there's tons of great action scenes throughout this movie, tons of great fight scenes as well. But there's one in particular, and he's going into, first of all, great cast, by the way, as well. We've got, what's her name? Keanu Reeves, Rachel Weisz, Shia LaBeouf, he's in it. What's her name? Tilda Swinton? The one who played the ancient one in the Doctor Strange movies. What's it? Is it... I always forget her name. Tilda Swinton, something like that. The ancient one. You know what I'm talking about. She was in the Narnia movies as well as the White Queen. Was it the White Queen or the White Witch? But she is playing a villain in this. She plays Gabriel in this as well, and it's a great movie. But great cast, first of all. Rachel Weisz is fantastic in this. She plays dual roles. She plays a twin in this, and she's really good. Shia LaBeouf is very, I like his role in this. He's very limited. You don't see much screen time of his character, maybe a bit at the start, a bit at the end of the movie. But it's his character features in the scene I'm going to go to. And the scene is Keanu Reeves, John Constantine, is going up to try and save Rachel Weisz's character in this hospital. And all of the people in the hospital, all the patients, have demonized. They've all been taken over by demons. And John Constantine, he's saying to them, like, I know you're demons. If you step aside, I'll let you live. And while this is all going on, Shia LaBeouf's character is going upstairs and he's putting holy water into the viaducts in the ceiling where if there's a fire, these sprinklers come out and it's all spraying water. He pours holy water into them sprinklers. So while this is going on then, John Constantine, as I said, he's saying to these demons, he's saying, who were in the bodies of these humans at the time, they all got red eyes, and he says to them all, if you walk away, you turn away, let me through, you will all live. And they all, funny enough, they don't do that. They don't listen to him, and they sort of come towards him. And then he's got this big golden shotgun, which is like golden, or is it silver, golden silver bullets. And he starts just unloading this shotgun. And it's an awesome scene, an awesome fight scene. A lot of it's like in slow motion at times. And you've got the holy water then coming down because he kicks it all off. You see the water come down, they're all like going crazy, they're burning alive because it's holy water on these demons. They don't like holy water. And it's just a great scene. And it nearly comes to its end when Keanu Reeves is nearly like taken by a demon. And Shia LaBeouf's character just comes in and shoots him with a shotgun as well. It's great. It's a great action scene. But that movie in general, I think it's a kind of a hidden gem of a movie. It's a movie that maybe is lost in the shuffle of comic book movies at times, I feel. And I think it is really worthy of a watch. First of all, if you've never seen that movie, well worth checking out. I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves. I like his movies. Over the past couple of years as well, I've watched more and more of his stuff. And maybe it is because of John Wick. I like John Wick movies. But I've got a big, over the past few years, a big, passion to watch his films because I like his films. I think he makes really good movies, Keanu Reeves. And this is a really good one. And it's one I'd love to see a sequel. There's room for a sequel. I feel like there's definitely room for a sequel at some point. I feel like even if they did it in another 2 or 3 years' time, or even 5 years' time, I feel like this would still be a good movie. Or even if they did it as a reboot, but him taking charge and taking that role again, I would love to see that. Whether it happens, who knows? Well, you know what? I never thought we'd see another Matrix. But hey, we're getting a Matrix and we're getting Keanu Reeves in it. So anything can happen in the world of movies. And that is one well worth checking out. So that is my second choice today on best action horror movies. Let's now move to my third choice. And this is a channel. This is obviously a channel. You're watching this channel. Well, this is a movie that I have spoken about on the channel before. Many a times. I am a big fan of this movie, of the first 2 movies and one of the spin-offs I liked. But let me tell you the movie. The movie is the 1999 film The Mummy, the remake of like the classic Universal Monsters film The Mummy. This action horror movie starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, going from John Constantine. She was previously in another horror movie action franchise of The Mummy as well. John Hannah as well. It's a great movie, great action movie. It's fun. First of all, it's got the appeal of an Indiana Jones, which is great. And that's got all my action and adventure in there for me. But you've got the horror element of Imhotep and all these mummies coming to life. You've got the great hero of Rick O'Connell, played by Brendan Fraser. This is just all-out action adventure horror. And the horror with all the mummies coming to life and all the great horror elements in this. There's a few great scenes. I think the battle on the boat is great for an action scene. You're seeing just a massive shootout. They're on this boat, and then these two armies are fighting for this key to find the book of the dead. One of the books is I can't remember which book it is. Basically, the Rachel Weisz's character in this story, She reads out the Book of the Dead. It makes Imhotep come to life. Then they had to go, where is it? I've got it written down here somewhere. They had to go and then find the Book of Amun-Ra, which is kind of like a counter book where it'll then destroy Imhotep and make him dead again. And there's a massive shootout scene on the boat, which is a great scene. I love the scene with the airplane as well when they're on the plane, and then Imhotep is you see his big sand face because he goes you see him in the background. Imhotep, he's going like this with his mouth. He's like, oh, and then you see his big mouth. His face is reimagined in a big sandstorm, and the sandstorm is chasing Rick O'Connell and his counterparts with him as well. But Rachel Weisz saves him. Her character, she saves him by kissing Imhotep and then gets distracted and they save. Well, the plane crashes anyway. So, but it's a great scene again. But I think one of the other scenes I've been recapping this morning for the show is a great scene when they get into the Pharaoh's. That's the way you pronounce it. The Pharaoh's tomb scene, and basically it's John Hannah, his character of I think his name is Jonathan, the brother of Rachel Weisz's character, Brendan Fraser, and the guy who's in the he's like all dressed in black. He's like a warrior. Can't remember his name. He was in the Juice Bigelow franchise. I think he was the Gigolo before Juice Bigelow. If you know that franchise, you'll be able to know who I'm on about. But they get into the Pharaoh's temple, and first of all, at the start of it, you see John Hannah's character. John Hannah, I think he's a Scottish. Is he Scottish actor? Scottish or Irish? He gets one of these beetles in his arm, and these beetles go into your skin. These big beetles, and you see them throughout the movie. And it's like what they cover the mummies in to mummify them. And this big beetle is coming up, and the visual effects are not great. I'll be honest with you, the visual effects at some points in this movie are a bit shaky. This big beetle's going up John Hannah's arm, and he's a bit of a scaredy cat, his character. And you see him, he's screaming, he's shouting, and then Rick gets a knife and just gets this knife and takes the beetle out of him, and they kill the beetle. But then this leads onto a great scene where they go into this temple and they see all this jewels and stuff, and then next minute, from out the ground, these undead characters come on. They look like mummies, but what is great, it's not like CGI. It's very much like physical makeup on these characters, and I love it. I think it's great. It looks great because it's so visually awesome to look at. It's not computer effects, and it's very reminiscent. And I'd love to know. I'd love to ask the director of that movie, did they get inspiration from the Thriller Michael Jackson video? But if you watch it, check out that scene on YouTube. Just type in the Pharaoh's tomb scene of The Mummy. You'll know the scene, you'll see it. And you'll see these undead characters. I think it's like 3 characters. They come out of the ground. And it is very reminiscent of the scenes in the Thriller music video where all the people, the undead are coming out of the ground. It reminded me of that so much. But it's really, again, they just then start shooting at these undead characters. They're like that, boom, boom, boom. And it's Rick O'Connell, and then, out of nowhere then, you see this scaredy cat character of Jonathan. He just grabs 2 of the guns, and he just starts shooting them. And it's so funny, because you don't expect that from his character, because he's just not that action star throughout the movie, but it's another great action scene, a great shootout, and I loved it. I thought it was great. There's tons of great scenes, action scenes throughout this movie, and great mixed in really well with the horror elements of the Mummy franchise, which I really love. It led on to another great sequel, The Mummy Returns. The Scorpion King, I think, is a good movie as well. The third one, I've watched bits of it, I just didn't enjoy it. It's no longer in my movie collection. I just didn't like it, to be perfectly honest. I didn't like the recasting, and it just wasn't for me. But there you go. But the first 2, solid movies, and The Mummy is a great, great movie to watch. But anyway, that is my third choice out of the way. Let's move on to the fourth and final choice. Again, these are not in any particular order. These are just my picks, my 4 picks. So the fourth movie I am going to discuss today is a 2004 movie directed by Zack Snyder. And I think maybe you'll probably know this. This is Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead. what a perfect movie. It is a remake of the original Dawn of the Dead movie. And it is a great movie by Zack Snyder. I think this was also written by James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy fame. This is very much I wouldn't say a shot-for-shot remake, but very much taking very much the template of the shopping mall, zombie attack, zombie takeover, go to the shopping mall, try and survive story of the original movie. It's a great story. It's got kind of like an unknown cast for me. There's a few famous faces in there. You know, you got Vin Grimes from the Mission Impossible franchise. A few other faces you would know. The guy, what's his name? Ty Burrell from Modern Family. He features in this movie as well. But it's a great movie. You know, it starts off really strong opening to this when you see the main character, the female character, a child and her husband are infected by the virus, and then she looks out at the world, and you see the big like long shot of the world, the landscape of the earth just going into ruin with this zombie takeover. And it's great, and when it really heats up when you get to the shopping mall and they're living in there, and even they feel like they're under control, but then they realize, you know, they've got to get away, so they're gonna get away and try to get to this boat, to this island, and things don't go well in the end. If you watch the movie, if you watch like the found footage stuff at the end of the movie, which is really interesting to watch. But it is a great action movie, great horror movie as well. Great action horror. Some of the highlight scenes of this, for me, are the bus scenes. So we have the scenes with when they're escaping. First of all, before that, there's a scene where they're getting chased by zombies, and one of the guys he can't walk or he gets attacked, and he's on the floor, and then the other guy is grabbing him and holding him and dragging him across the floor, and he's got two guns with him, and there's like a horde of zombies chasing him, and he just starts shooting these zombies while he's on the floor, and then the next minute the zombies catch up to this guy, start eating him alive, and the other guy's just like, I'm going. He just runs off. That's a great scene. I love that. It just cracked me up because it was so funny for such like a really serious serious story of a movie, you know, with zombies taking over the world. But you know, the other great scene as well for me, well, there's another scene as well, when they're escaping the shopping mall, they're getting chased by a horde, they're all together, all like the main group, and they're getting chased by these zombies, and they go into the lift, they go into this elevator, close the doors, and then there's this like really elevator-like music on, and they're all just like laughing and chilling, and then it's just like straight back into the action, and it's just like a moment of calm. And I love the way they just show them all just like they're like nervously in this lift. It's just funny to watch when you see it when it's throughout all this energy of this high octane energy of an action movie, horror movie where they're getting chased by zombies. But for me, it is when the bus scene escape, when they're like smashing through all the zombies, they're throwing out like bombs, they're shooting zombies. It's just an all-out war zone, and it's just a great scene to watch. It's visually, you're looking at, I think for a 2004 movie, it is superb. I really think a lot of it is down to the great directing of Zack Snyder. I know I like to blow smoke up his backside, but I like him. I think he's a great director. I think he's really he's up there for me. And I didn't always have that view of him. I've definitely changed my view over the years. And I really enjoy his movies. I think he's a great filmmaker. But Dawn of the Dead, great action horror movie. Tons of great action scenes throughout this movie. It's just 20 million miles an hour. That's not even a speed, but it's super quick. Energy in this movie, it picks up pace really quickly, and it's great throughout this. The action is just phenomenal at times, and it is a great action horror movie for Halloween season. If you're looking for something to watch, I would definitely watch the Dawn of the Dead remake 2004 by Zack Snyder. But anyway, they are my picks for today's episode. My picks over for today's headline topic. Let's move on with the rest of the show. So now it's time for some movies for the weekend, the part of the show where I give you some recommendations for movie watches for this weekend. So I've got two choices here today, and kind of keeping with the theme of today's show of horror movies, action horror, Halloween movies, something to watch over this October for you all. And I'm going to start my choice with this one here. And it is talking about the Dawn of the Dead remake. We wouldn't have had a remake if we didn't have the original movie. So the original George Romero Dawn of the Dead movie, I've got it here. It is a great film. I think, for me, I do prefer the remake, I've got to be honest. But we wouldn't have had it without this. And I think it's still watchable. I think it's a really great movie still. It's even though I like the remake more so than this, I would still enjoy watching this. I think it's a great movie. It's a classic horror movie, isn't it? It's a classic one to watch. Well worth watching. It's the story. I think if you like everything about the remake, I think you'll like a lot that's in here because it's taken a lot from that original movie, the remake, and it's well worth checking out. And it's just because of the history. This is a classic film. This is a classic film for a lot of people. If you've not watched it, this is a great time of the year to watch it. Get it out. It's on probably the majority of streaming services. Try Netflix, Amazon. I'm sure you're gonna get one. You'll be able to download it. Buy it as a digital download. If not, there's definitely ways to watch this movie. Get it watched. It's well worth checking out. If not, check out your physical media stores. Go to charity shops. You will be able to pick this movie up. I guarantee you'll find this somewhere. But well worth checking out. George Romero. It says on the back, the definite zombie film, The Dawn of the Dead. The acclaimed best horror films ever made. I think it is definitely. It's got to be in the top 10. Top 10 for sure. But anyway, let's move on to another pick for this weekend. Another movies for the weekend choice. And this was another one where I've not watched this in years, but I always remember really enjoying this movie. And this is, I think it's a Danny Boyle movie, I believe so. A Danny Boyle film. 28 days later, before we had the Walking Deads in this world, we had 28 days later. A great movie where you get this guy who wakes up in a coma, 28 days in a coma, and the world has went to ruin. And it's like these zombies, these hybrid zombies running around the world. And it is a great film. It's set in London as well. It's I can't imagine. I don't think we've had many like London-based zombie movies. Maybe I'm wrong, but this was a big budget one anyway. Danny Boyle, I like some of his movies. I've been on some of them. I've not. I like Trainspotting. I've never been a fan of Trainspotting, but this one is one I really like. I wasn't super keen on the sequel. 28. There's a sequel there. 28 weeks later. I know we always got promised like the 28 months later. We never got it. But the first one in the franchise is a great horror movie. One worth checking out. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this over the October season and watch this over Halloween. I've got a few horror movies I want to watch this month. Not a big horror fan, I'll be honest with you. But I'm determined to watch a few. And these movies are kind of a challenge for me watching sometimes because I get a bit spooked out and I get a bit scared at times and I jump easily. So watching these movies is kind of like jumping out of a plane for me. It's nerve wracking, but it's a different feeling of watching a movie. So I'm looking forward to giving some of these a watch in a way to have a different viewing experience for myself. So anyway, that's worth watching this weekend if you're looking for something to watch, or anytime during this month. Well worth checking out the movies for the weekend choices. Well, anyway, let's move forward onto the last segment of the show. Really, what have I been watching this week? And been watching a few different things, but there's one particular movie I want to discuss, and it is a classic that I watched as a kid. It was a 90s movie. I think it was 94, I believe. I'm sure it was 94. I think it's Paul Verhoeven. It's a guy who did RoboCop, Total Recall, and it was Starship Troopers, a sci-fi movie of the 90s, and I think it was based on a book series, and it's a great, I remember watching this as a kid and really enjoying it, and I've had some great people in the community recommend, when I've done like sci-fi episodes, my top 4 would be Starship Troopers, and it was always in there for a lot of people. And it was just one I'd not watched in years. I'd not watched it, and I thought, you know what, I had a bit of free time this week, and I thought, you know what, I want to watch Starship Troopers. Let's watch it. So I watched it for the first time in probably over 10 years, easy, I'd say. And I absolutely, I couldn't remember any of the movie because it was like fresh eyes going in because it was so long. But I remembered why I enjoyed it so much and why as a sci-fi fan I enjoyed it. It's just superb. It's got humor, it's got sci-fi, it's just like crazy bugs, aliens. It's crazy throughout the movie. Starship Troopers tells the story of like this world that is living with aliens, these bug-like aliens who are attacking the world, and they have like this army force there, and these young kids join up, these young adults join up, and we have Johnny Rico. We have a few other characters as well. There's quite a few notable cast members in this sprinkled throughout. Is it thingy Patrick Harris? He was in that TV show How I Met Your Mother, and the girl who was in, I always forget it. Is it Denise something? She was in one of the Bond. She was a Bond girl. I think it might have been GoldenEye or The World Is Not Enough. She was one of the Bond girls in them ones. But it has Casper Van Dien as Johnny Rico as well. He's the main guy in this movie. It's a really fun movie. I don't know why it didn't have more successful spin-offs. I know this has had about 4 or 5 sequels, and a lot of them have been like direct to DVD. And I don't know why it didn't spawn some great sequels, because I feel like it could have been a really big franchise going from this movie. I know it's got like a really cult-like status now, Starship Troopers. A lot of people still like this movie. I've actually got some of they've done like 2 animated movie spin-offs as well. And I've got one, Traitor of Mars, I'm going to watch this weekend, hopefully. I'm looking forward to watching that. But it's just great. You know, I love the conclusion of this film, of the battle scenes with the big bugs. They're taking on these big bugs that just eat people alive and like shoot acid at people. It's just crazy, the effects and some of the scenes in this movie and the attachment you have to some of the characters, and then when they die, it's like, whoa, that is it feels significant, and I just think it adds up. It's got loads of these different elements. It's got a great soundtrack by Basil Podaris, who does like the soundtracks for many great films. One for me personally, he does the RoboCop soundtrack, and that is perfect. It's one of the perfect soundtracks of all time. I love the RoboCop. I'm a big RoboCop fan. But it's just a great film. I'm so happy I rewatched it, because it brought out loads of really great memories and really cheerful memories of watching it as a kid. And I'm so pleased that I watched it. I had a lot of fun watching it, and it was very enjoyable. And I gotta say, yeah, it's really worth checking out. If you've got a similar experience to me where you watched it years ago and you liked it, check it out again, because it really is. I don't think it's dated massively. Sure, you can see there's definitely elements where it's a 90s movie, but I feel like it's got some sort of like everlasting quality to it. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's a sci-fi movie. I love sci-fi, but it's great. It's you know what you're gonna get from the word go with this movie. I feel like you know what you're getting, but I enjoyed what I was getting. I enjoyed what I was seeing, and I thought it was perfect. It was a great movie, a fun watch. I was smiling because of the great score as well, mixed in with the great action scenes, sci-fi action. Great film. Great, well worth checking out. But anyway, that is what I've been watching this week. I've definitely been watching more stuff, but I think it's been a long enough show already. Yeah, I don't want to keep you that much longer. But anyway, thank you very much for staying tuned throughout this show. If you did enjoy this episode, please do give it a like and check out the rest of my movie-related content as well. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel as well. We always appreciate new subscribers, new people to this community. But let me know your thoughts on today's headline topic: best action horror movies. What did you think of my choices? And what would be your choices? What are some of your picks for best action horror movies? Which are some of the movies that you're going to be watching throughout this month? Maybe you're doing one movie every day this month. I know a few people have let me know that they're doing that so far. I think it's ace. I think that's a great commitment to watching a movie a day. That's awesome. That is awesome. You get a movie bud fist from me, all of you out there who are doing that. But yeah, let me know all your picks. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode. And as always, Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.